Hello grappers and welcome to a new Zangief video. First of all, I hope you had a great New Year's Eve party. Because now it's time to get back on the grind, back to playing Zangief. So what are we talking today? Today we're going to talk about poking, a little bit more about poking with punish. Because as you know, I've been following Kobayan for a while these days. I've also been comparing him to Snake and other great Zangief players, and I've noticed a few things that I feel we need to start implementing. First of all, let's address the big thing. Mids in this game. By mids I mean standing medium punch, crouching medium kick, standing medium kick. These buttons usually by the majority of Zangief players are used for bothering the opponent. Poking, even if you're whiffing, some Zangief players just do it in order to prevent maybe a button, a dash. The same thing applies to crouching medium kick. Some players like to go for a crouching light punch and then crouching medium kick to try to poke the opponent. I think this is not the way to use these buttons. After checking the frame data and the benefits of the buttons, I think these buttons are not made to be used without any kind of interaction from the opponent. Standing medium punch, crouching medium kick, and standing medium kick should be used as pokes when the opponent is whiffing. And I think that is one of the biggest differences I've seen between Zangief players. Because as you know, if you go for way too many standing medium punch, it is very likely you're gonna get DI'd or someone is gonna forward jump. That makes this button kinda difficult to use in the neutral. Let's say if you're going for crouching medium punch, you use standing medium punch when you see the whiff. This button is 9 frames. It is fast for whiff punishing recovery frames. The same thing applies to these two buttons. You can react and whiff punish with standing medium kick and the rest of the mediums. But that is not the only usage I feel that they have. Since the hitboxes are pretty decent, I've seen more and more Zangief players going for raw drive rushes. And this seems kinda crazy considering how slow Zangief is. But due to the hitboxes of all of these buttons, they are disjointed by the way, it is very hard for the opponent to actually connect with your hurtbox, surprisingly. It's not weird to just use these buttons to try to get in, because this is really hard to punish. Even though it's a slow button, it is really hard. You can change that to standing medium punch and get more or less the same results. Same with crouching medium kick. So all of those buttons, I feel, should be used more as a button when you react to something. They were great for that, but they're not made to be used as just poking. So now you might be asking, okay, what do I use them? Because I still want to hit the opponent, I still want to threaten them. This comes straight from Kobayan. Standing heavy punch is absolutely amazing as a button to keep the opponent guessing. As you can see over here, if you hit with the later active frames, it's -2. Even here it's -3, so it's not that bad. This is your button when you want to just establish that you are willing to press something. The range is kinda nuts. You can see we're over here. I'm still hitting, look. This is huge range for a button. You do have to use standing heavy punch way more than your mids, because the range is good, you're very likely to connect. And if that hits, punish counter or counter hit, the opponent gets pushed to the corner. Same thing happens with standing heavy punch as a punish counter. It's very interesting to use this button when the opponent is trying to do something. You send them flying, basically, even with the uncharged version. And since this is safe, it's not dangerous for Zangief, obviously they can still jump. This button absolutely establishes a great situation for Zangief. But that is not all. I think, and I've always said this, you have to use your lights more. One thing that is definitely a problem with Zangief is that he doesn't have the best frame traps. Due to how slow his buttons are, it's very difficult for him to create that good situation for a good frame trap, even if you have plus frames. Right, from here you're only +2. You can, however, obviously, go for something like this, you know, the classics. He does have some frame traps, but it's not the best for him. You usually have to rely on health stab way more than any of your other buttons. So what happens here? What can you do about that? And with time I've realized that lights are the heart and soul of Zangief. So for example, let's say you're playing Luke. You're trying to pressure the opponent. Boom, boom, boom. Use your lights to establish your pressure. 2, 3 lights. just in order to position yourself in a situation where you have the advantage in terms of positioning. As you can see here, that medium punch is whiffing. That makes the opponent whiff. If they try to forward jump, you have enough distance to react with lariat. Use your lights to position yourself in ways that are more than just frame trapping. For example, let's go again to crouching medium punch. This button has a disjointed hitbox. However, it is very weird for this button to connect because the range is awful. So how can you make this button connect? You position yourself again with lights. And you just wait. You don't have any necessity to continue the pressure over here because you don't have the best buttons to do so. So here you can just wait. And if the opponent is throwing a crouching medium punch, as Luke does, because that crouching medium punch is absolutely hell, you can go for a bigger punish. The main idea here is to always use your lights for positioning instead of going for frame traps. For example, you know the classic, this one? I love this string, it's great, it's fantastic for what you can do. Some buttons whiff, but some don't. There are some buttons in the game that have really long ranges. The only way for Zangief to counter those buttons is by, again, positioning. This goes really well with a lot of buttons that the opponent can throw at you, and Zangief walking back. That is also a thing that is very important. Let's check the situation again, but instead of using crouching medium punch, let's consider crouching medium kick with 3 hits. This also whiffs, but only whiffs when you're standing. If you're crouching, it will hit you because when you're crouching, you have a larger hurt box. Say you're crouching because you might be afraid of a sweep, for example, or something like that. If you hit with 3 lights and walk back, you can still make Luke whiff. And here, you have a situation where you can whiff punish with crouching heavy kick, sweep. And you can start your offense. Zangief's lights are very good. Not only because of the plus frames, but because how much they give you on block and on hit. Depending on the button, you can even use headbutt. By using 3 lights on block, which are a chain, by the way, the opponent cannot do anything about those crouching light punches. That doesn't mean you don't have to use the rest of the toolkit. And something I've been very aware now is that standing light kick is very good as a whiff punisher, but nothing else. So this is not a button you want to use when the opponent is just throwing medium punches or heavy punches. Likely, they will punish you. You want to absolutely see what the opponent is doing, and then you can whiff punish with that. So use your lights more. Position yourself with 2 lights, and don't go for a mid right away. That's what I'm trying to say. Check what the opponent is doing after your 3 lights or 2 lights. You don't have to commit right away to a grab, to a hell stab. You can just wait, because your position is absolutely fantastic to whiff punish. Using drive rushes with standing medium punch and the rest of the buttons might be the way they're intended for. Because I've seen some people trying to justify this button as a poke for keeping the pressure. But let me tell you guys, if you want to keep the pressure, you have to use your plus frames. This button is not made for that. This is a button for whiff punishing, and as I've seen from Kobayan and other Zangief players, drive rush. If you want to keep your pressure, use 4 buttons. Crouching light kick, crouching light punch, standing light punch, and headbutt. And stop using standing medium punch and the rest of the mediums in the neutral. Change them for lights even. This button in the neutral is pretty good. Remember, if you hit someone, punish counter, and this will happen in a fight, with a crouching light punch, you're plus 10. So most of the time, this is guaranteed. It's not like a huge damage, but you can still do something. And the best thing is, you're still plus. Another thing that I want to tell you guys is that, remember the 3 lights that I just told you? Now these are strings that are very specific depending on the situation the opponent is doing. I usually like going for standing light punch, for example, something like that, because this light, a 5-framer. Let's make Luke go for crouching medium kick. That crouching medium kick, as you can see here, 8-framer. There are some really strong crouching medium kicks in the game, so you need to know how to stop them. A series of lights into a standing light kick is not a bad idea when you know the opponent wants to go for lows. Because usually lows are crouching medium kick, sweep, those kind of lows are slow. And here you're +6, or I should say this is a 6-framer, because obviously this one is +1 on block. You can absolutely use 3 lights into this, and that is a counter hit. If you see the counter hit, this is a proper combo. Use your lights way more, use them more than any other button. Use more crouching light punches, standing light punches, standing light kick as a wave punisher, and crouching light kick. If you're playing the neutral, you'll see the change. If you stop going for these buttons all the time and you change this for crouching light punch, you're gonna see a difference right away. And when the opponent is really scared and you see that they're trying to use maybe standing heavy kicks if they can, or crouching medium kicks if they're Yuri or even Luke, then you can walk back and then use your mids. And I know this sounds like very obvious, but after seeing high-level Zangief players go for lights instead of that many mids, it makes a difference. You can do whatever you want when the opponent is scared. You're trying to poke them with plus frames. They don't have anything they can do there except for, even at this distance, they have to go for maybe an OD Shoryuken. While you're not in range for SPD after 3 lights, you can always micro walk SPD. Going for combos from lights, you know, the classic. I've been doing this less and less, unless the opponent has low health. Because as you know, this gives you nothing really significant, with the big exception of the Kobayan style, which uses headbutt after plus frames. If you get used to having your dry gauge only for wave punishing, again you're gonna get way more damage than usual. 1,880 points of damage compared to the punish counter version or even the counter version. Like you're trying to position yourself for setting up crouching medium punch, as we did before. That is even more damage. So save your meter for wave punishing and create situations where you can make the opponent whiff. So if the opponent is walking back, you might want to go for a crouching medium kick, or you might want to use a sweep in order to assert dominance at the certain ranges. But if you replace the majority of the buttons you're using with lights, and on block you start using more lights as a way to position yourself instead of going for something like this, which is not a frame trap, you're gonna see a big difference. I hope this video was enjoyable. Remember that I stream on twitch.tv/Kirupu, and the next video is gonna be a really fun one because we're gonna talk about Zangief, but not necessarily tech. We're gonna talk about what people think of Zangief. We'll see about that. Remember to subscribe if you really like this content, and I'll see you next time.